So scrolling through TikTok, as one does, I came across someone who redesigned the soul from Deltarune. Naturally, I fell in love. Echonoahh was the artist, by the way, go check them out. I really loved their design, so of course I just had to draw them for myself, and make them overly detailed, as I tend to do. I definitely had, I assume, the same idea that they did, making them an angelic creature due to the line from the game, The Angel's Heaven. I made them resemble a seraphim, but not entirely, obviously. I still wanted them to resemble a human. I gave them these horn halo things. I really love turning horns into crowns or halos or just making them represent something rather than just making them demonic horns. Anyway, I also gave them a third eye. I thought it would be good because they are always watching, even other characters, not just Chris. I didn't end up giving them clothes. I was initially going to give them a really tight lace outfit, but instead I just gave them all this detailing on their skin. I thought that would look more ethereal and otherworldly. To represent the Red Soul, or presumably the pacifist's personality, I gave them this long, loose, fluffy, flowing hair, kind of wild and untamed. Carefree. We are just there to have fun after all. But that wild and untamed hair may also be hinting towards a fierce and devoted soul, determined to achieve their goals. I also made their wings open wide to give them a very trusting and, well, open feeling, though it may come off a bit standoffish at times. It does get a little hard to see with color at first, sorry about that, but like the inspiration, I was determined to maintain an almost entirely red color palette. And for anyone who doesn't know, red is one of, if not the hardest limited color palette to work with. But I figured it out. Eventually. You see, if you darken the color too much, it becomes brown, and if you lighten it, you either get pink or orange, so I only altered the colors slightly, hence why it's so hard to distinguish. Like the inspiration, I added white as an accent color for a little nod towards the Snowgrave or Shattered Heart path. I was trying to find a way to make the features pop a little more, but I really didn't want to add orange or pink into the design. I just didn't like the look of it. I was hoping shading would help, and it kind of did, but I finally caved and added more purple, which helped significantly. In fact, it helped so much, I added a lot more of it. I used purple again for the shadows to help accentuate the design. I made them and the heart glowing to give off a more holy vibe, and I made the white accents glowing gold to help break up the colors, though I kept that a little more subtle. For the Shattered Soul, I used the line art from the Red Soul as a reference, but I wanted it to be very apparent that they were not the good guy, so I gave them this comically evil pose. I closed the wings up more to reflect them kind of posing as a friend to, well, everyone, including the squad. I also shaped the wings to reflect a slight heart shape, which I thought was a fun little detail. Since you start in the Snowgrave route and are freezing everyone, I wanted them to look very sharp and pointy, like icicles. For the hair, I pulled it into a tight French braid. Unlike the Red Soul, who's very fluffy and large, I wanted them to look very slim and tightly strung. I thought the braid would be good because even if you choose to play the Snowgrave route, you aren't really pulling the strings. You're still not in control, as the game loves to remind you. If anything, it's, well, you know who, and I don't mean Chris. Anyways, with this person's stricken personality and seeming relationship towards Chris in Chapter 4, I thought an uptight braid would be very fitting. Again, reflecting to the Inspirations design, I wanted to keep an almost all-white color palette. Oh, ignore this. It's just so that I and you could see the details better. Though I'll admit, they kind of look like Girahim from Skyward Sword. It's kind of awesome, but it doesn't say. The all-white design proved no less of a challenge than the red, but I got it to work just as well. Mirroring the red soul, I gave them red accents, and I added this grayish blue accent to their wings to help differentiate and define them a little better. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought and what you'd like to see next. And of course, fair farin'.